Hi everyone, it's Tracy from Two Rocks Tarot, and today I have received a deck that I have been waiting for a long time for, called the Hush Tarot by Jermery Hush, that you can see before you. So it just comes, that's the cover of the box, it just comes in your, your standard little tuck box there that you get. It's from US Games, so actually I should show the colour is quite nice. It's kind of like a duck egg blue in there. Comes with your standard little white book, but it's actually quite a good little book. It's got very nice meanings attached to the actual cards themselves, and they are very relevant to what the artwork is in them. So I've only read a few of them. I'll probably read one or two out so you can just sort of get the gist of the idea of exactly what the actual how he actually associates the meanings with his artwork in there. So I really think this is an absolutely gorgeous little deck. I really, really do. So this is the backs of the cards that you can see, and I'll just push that down a little bit there so we can have a little bit. Oops, that's my little camera wire there. There we go. So we can see. So there's the backs there. So it's kind of like a chocolate brown. So the whole palette of this deck is in browns and greens and blues and yellows. It's quite beautiful. It's very, very subdued. The card stock is, not too thick, not too thin. To me, it feels just right. It's got a very, very matte feel. It is matte, but it's very, 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 very buttery. It's absolutely beautiful. And this here is the full card. Get that down there so we can see that nicely. So this is the full card. So this is an actual weasel. A ferret. And now with this particular deck, you're going to have to look in very, very carefully to there's a lot going on. So even this looks like a very simple picture there. They've got moths here. I'll just read the actual, what he's done, the meaning for this particular one. So mischievous, bold, out of step, an adventurous spirit, carefree and open to new experiences. The ferret is known for its curiosity and playful temperament, which can sometimes be considered mischievous. Moths use their turbulent flight to evade predators. Their erratic moves can help to avoid danger. Also, as masters of disguise, they are reminded to be aware that you could be hiding from yourself. So what a great, great little meaning attached to that. You could be hiding from yourself. So, it's absolutely perfect. I'm just going to make sure that this is straight. Got this precariously camera hanging over over this particular one. So that is the full. Here we come to the Magician. As you can see, the artwork is just absolutely gorgeous. When I first saw this deck, I thought, oh, it's got some real Fae energy to it. But I've kind of changed my mind. It has and it hasn't. So it does remind me of the Fae, but then again, it doesn't either as well. It's a very down to earth. I'd say more of an earth spirit type. It's very hard for me to describe how it actually, how it actually sort of makes me feel. It's a very different energy to it. It truly, truly is very, very earthly. So as you can see, she's got a cat type, sort of a cat creature draped over her lap, and also almost looks like to be headless because the head is sitting up like on a vase. We've got a dragon up on the top there. So there's lots and lots of things going on in this card, and you're going to have these cards, and you'll have to really sort of sit with this deck and look at it when you actually pull cards. We come to the High Priestess. Absolutely gorgeous, isn't it? It's really, truly, truly a beautiful deck. I really do like it. Excuse me again, still coughing away. She's got lots of little birds in her hand. There's lots of things that are going on in here. So you really need to sort of pay attention and have a look when you work with this deck. Here we've got the Empress. Very, very different looking Empress, isn't it, with the wooden arms. It reminds me of them horrible art dolls when I was a kid that used to have to try and draw. So as this is a different looking type of an Empress, let's have a look and see what he says in his little white book about the Empress. So it's got fertility, femininity and nature. The Empress is Mother Earth, the embodiment of the natural world. Her hood of the crow contains the knowledge of life's mysteries and magic. Its eyes scan the sky, providing vision to observe the truth in the world. This insight is not gained without the scars to show for it. self-mending is needed. So if you have a look, you can see there's like needles here and there's cotton going around there. This probably alludes to the, you know, to the old saying, when things go wrong, you've got to pick up the pieces of yourself and put yourself back together. This card hints at lessons on the birds and bees. Fertility, nature and abundance are just part of this story. Rust, decay and endings are required to complete this cycle of life. All is needed for life to endure this circle. The Empress may be a sign for a new start, such as creative endeavour, learn a new art form, shape challenges in your day, create a new path for your way of thinking. And it has got a reversed meaning as well for those of you who do read reversed meanings, which I don't, so I will not read it. Now we come to the Emperor. Still got the shakes from my medicine, hey, so I'm not lining things up properly. So here we got the Emperor, and here you just see a pair of hands, which is quite amazing, isn't it? The colours, I really love the colours. I truly love the colours. I'm not going to, you know, go deep into every single card because it'll take forever to do it. So here we've got the Hierophant. I will touch on the Hierophant. So you still got the cross keys here, but I like the way the three birds are fighting. Now, I'm not... I've never been brought up with any type of religion whatsoever, but I have heard of the Holy Trinity. But also there I have heard how there's a, you know, like a worldwide downturn basically in normal mainstream religion as well. We all seem to be going back to our earthly parts, and I think these type of fighting type of birds here kind of really highlight that actual aspect of what's been going on in the world. Now the Lovers one is kind of creepy, hey. It reminds me of those Mente Mori pictures where you know, where they prop up the oh my god, I can't get it out. When they prop up the dead and take photos of them, they used to do that in the olden days because, you know, it was photos were not like nowadays where we can take them whenever we want and take photos of our loved ones when they were deceased. And that was, you know, they kind of got that look about them, particularly her and the way her head's tilted to the side and everything. So that's a very interesting take on this card, I feel. It's just very, very different, isn't it? I suppose in one way it's saying that love never dies as well. So even when you are dead and gone, you know, your love never dies. For you know, you meet on the other side, or one of you is left behind. You know, you're divided, but you're still together. If you know what I'm saying. There's an interesting take on that card. Here we've got the Chariot. Absolutely gorgeous. I really, really like this. I'm going to really enjoy working with this deck, I can tell. And here we've got Strength. Again, it's very different. Again, you can see the lots of illusion, lots of bees in this, lots of, you know, like string, because almost looks like her torso is actually cut in half. We have got bats up on the top of her hair. Let's have a look what he says about strength, shall we? If I can find it. There we go. Taming of the animal spirit. Through confidence and determination, you can overcome the trials before you. Your inner strength helps you to understand and deal with the wants and needs of others. The swarm of bats and the turbulent flutter of moths, predator and prey, are being held tethered by an inner calm. The woman's face is painted for war. She stands upright, ready for whatever comes next. Learning from injuries of the past and stresses of the day is the way to keep moving forward, never back. So it's very, very different, isn't it? I really like it. What really draws my eye is how it looks like that she's been cut in half. And again, that's the thing with strength, isn't it? When you've been through a lot, you literally feel like, you know, a part of you has been torn in two. So it's, very, I don't know, it's just something about this deck. Here we've got the most beautiful hermit, a beautiful owl, absolutely gorgeous. Isn't the colour palette just stunning? It's completely different to decks that I have got in my collection when it comes to the colour palette, and also just, I mean, I have got animal decks, but this is just different again. It's really, really nice. This is the wheel, where we've got this ant vicariously balancing in a little leaf boat. Justice. Just, isn't it stunning, this work? I absolutely adore it. I really do. I can't wait to meld it together with different type of, you know, with other decks that I've got. This is a very interesting take on the Hanged Man, isn't it? Because it's not hanged at all. It's not upside down. When it's reversed, it'll be upside down. But it looks like this person is actually stepping out of the ropes that bind. Let's have a look if there's anything interesting that he says about the Hanged Man in here, because I think that's quite a provocative sort of a picture, isn't it? Oh, gosh. If I can find it, honestly, I'm not very good today. Okay. Defer any decision making in order to allow for more time to reflect on current situations. Tangled in the stress and trappings of our everyday, alluding to the ropes down there. Routine, it's easier to make rash decisions. Expect some outcomes that may provoke more than help. The mind needs time to stop and find its equilibrium. The card is a reminder to remove our masks and lose the garb that further serves to ensnare. All the worries of how we are perceived by others only weigh us down. When the mind is muddled in indecision, step back to consider the greater good in yourself. Take time to really think through decisions for better long-term results. So you can see how he actually, with his meanings, it's actually relevant to the actual art, to what he has actually drawn. There's nothing worse, I feel, is when you buy a deck and it's got very different type of artwork and it's just got the normal standard Rider-Waite system meanings associated to it. Nothing disappoints me more, and I usually get rid of it. Not that I actually use guidebooks per se, but when it's a nice deck, something different and unusual like this, you actually do want to see, you know, you want to know why he drew what he drew. This is Death, absolutely stunning. Look at that. Isn't that just gorgeous? Really, really nice. I think this is going to become a very good favourite deck of mine. Here is Temperance. Again, very, very different, isn't it? Actually, this photo, she reminds me of a singer in the 80s, but I can't think of who at the top of my head right now. Maybe Cyndi Lauper a little bit, when she had the longer hair shaved on one side. Look at this Devil card. Isn't this absolutely amazing? So you've got a couple of kittens there. And this is quite good, because how is it sometimes when you meet somebody and you think they're absolutely fantastic, you know, they're very sweet and innocent, but they're just hiding behind a mask, you know. They're not really who they portray to be. Or you may even meet someone who you think is just totally awful, but underneath they're just a little big pussycat. You know, those people who judge books, judge covers of books by their covers type of thing. This can really allude to this and points to that particular way of looking at things rather well, I feel. Here we got the Tower. Gorgeous. I wonder if I should just put the rest of the deck on there so I'm not slipping in and out all the time. I think I can probably do that now. Make it nice and straight so you can see it. Please don't look at my horrible fingernails. So here we have got, yeah, that's probably better. So here we've got the Star. And it's got a little banner across that goes, "A hunting we will go." I kind of like this. I've noticed this with decks lately, particularly in my beautiful Philakos tarot. There's lots of little handwritten things written on the cards, and I've noticed that this seems to be a bit of a trend now that's happening with tarot creators, and I quite enjoy it actually. I don't like keywords per se, but things like this, something that makes you think, something that's different, I think is quite good. Here we got the Moon. Actually, I think I might just keep on doing it like I was doing it, because it just tips all over the place. So the Moon, I really like the Moon card too. I love the way the crow is wrapped around the actual moon and the eye. I think it's absolutely stunning. I truly do. The Sun is kind of very similar, except that it's sort of the opposite type of a way there. Oh God, I can't get it straight. Got it on a bit of velvet because the desk, because the camera is so good, it sort of detracts from the cards, I feel. Here we've got Judgment. Just gorgeous, aren't they? They're just absolutely beautiful, beautiful cards. The World. It's a very different again. It's not actually someone dancing on top of a world. It's actually someone who's part of the world. You know, we've got all the sort of world surrounding in the arches, as we did in the previous card with Judgment. So Judgment has more got like people's faces and everything in it, whereas this one here has got all, you know, like trees and homes and things like that. Then we come to the minor cards. So this is the Ace of Cups. It's quite a stunning image, isn't it? I think it's really well done. The Two of Cups. And again, this she reminds me of someone. I don't know who of. It's kind of weird. It reminds me of actual people, but I'm sure I haven't met someone who looks like that, so it's kind of interesting. So that was the 2, didn't I? So this is the 3. The 4 of Cups. Now, if I do get the numbers wrong, I'll apologise, because I really don't know my Roman numerals. After all these years of reading the tarot, I loathe it. But I've kept them all in order. So this is the 4 of Cups. So it's very different again, isn't it? Very, very different. So you're really going to have to, you know, I do love the 5 of Cups here. Because to me, the 5 of Cups always speaks of loss more eloquently than any other card in the tarot. And I think this really is just absolutely superb, this image. I really love it. We've got the 6 of Cups. A pair of rabbits there. Absolutely beautiful. Well, I suppose we've got Easter coming, haven't we? We've got the 7 of Cups. So as you can see, there's a lot going on in this card. So you're going to have to really look at it to be able to pick out type of things like that. I don't actually mind that though. That's kind of cool. You can see, look, there's a little bit of decomposition in the actual horse there. So, you know, the 7 of Cups, so yeah, it's different, isn't it? Here we got the 8 of Cups. Very, very different from walking away from someone, you know. But the owl looks very, what's that word I'm looking for? Very resigned, doesn't it? They both look like they're looking, you know, they're looking where they've been, you know, on the path that they've been. So you still get that aspect of leaving things behind, but in a very, very different way, in a very poignant way, in a very thoughtful way, sort of thing. I think it's, I don't know, it's just awesome. So I do believe this is, what was I up to? I've forgotten. The 8, right? This is the 9 of Cups. Looks very much like the Ace though, doesn't it? Yeah. Very different way. Well, you still get that overflowing of the cups, don't you? You've got the 10. You've got the Page. It's quite beautiful, isn't it? I like the way that, you know, it'd be like speech. You know, there's nothing written on it yet, so it's really elevates or points to receiving news, but you're not yet type of thing. The beautiful Knight. We've got the Queen. Very different type of Queen of Cups, isn't it? It's absolutely stunning. I really like this one. What I like about, you know, the Queen of Cups too, I like the way, you know, the bird is in the nest, you know, it's holding a bit of keys there. You know, there's this adage of, you know, how your heart can rule your head or vice versa type of thing. But it's very, very, I don't know, this is very powerful card, I think, for me. Then we've got the King. Not the most handsomest king. But there you go, a king, yeah. Now we come to the Sword Suite. So this is the Ace. It's quite beautiful, isn't it? I really love it. I don't know. I know I keep saying it, but it's just so nice. And look at this one. Look at that for the Two of Swords. How powerful is that? You know, I've got the eyes that are they blind? What are they seeing? And that's funny. And then he puts the kittens. Got a lot of beautiful little cats and kittens and things. A lot of cuteness in this deck, but there's a lot of decaying type things in it as well. We've got the Three of there. And you know, like here, it looks like there's a bee coming out of her mouth, but it also looks like there's a maggot as well. Very interesting, really, really is. The Four of Swords. I quite like that actually, Four of Swords too. I think that's really nice. We got the Five. I really like the Six too. Look at the Six, is very different, isn't it? The fish underneath, like almost like the fish is carrying her away. Got the Seven. Carrying a nest full of keys. Seven of Swords. Which one? Which key are you going to choose? What door? Where are you going to open? Got the Eight. And I like that it's not actual swords that's surrounding her here. It's actual flowers. It's something that you could break through very gently and very easily, but still, you know, you're not doing it. The Nine is a very cool card too. Look at that. Really like that. There's a 10. So instead of swords in her back, she's got flowers growing out of her body. Powerful images, aren't they? We've got the Page, which you have to really look at, but it's actually a bird with a human head and breasts. Got the Knight. Actually, the colour palette reminds me very much of Brian Froud's Fairy Oracle that I used to have. Very much like that. We've got the Queen. I love how it's got so many crows in here. It's absolutely awesome. King, unusual king, isn't it? King of Swords. But fits in well because it's a bird, you know, and the swords element is air. Now we come to Pentacles. It's the Ace of Pentacles. Excuse me. Two of Pentacles. We've got the Three. The Four. The Five, again, I really like this particular one of the Five as well. I think the Fives in this deck are done really, really well. Because this one always looks like he's in water, he's trapped up in seaweed. I mean, it's an earth element, but to me it looks like he's actually in water, this person. And you got the Six. Yes, the men aren't that handsome in this particular deck. And you got the Seven there. Eight. I do like the Eight. There's a animal there that reminds me a little bit of Oscar. The Nine. Got the 10 there. Oh, excuse me. The Page of Pentacles. I really like that actual card there. I think that's absolutely beautiful. I think they're all beautiful, but you know, some of the images really, really stand out for me, as I'm sure they will with you. We've got the Knight. The Queen of Pentacles. properly. It's quite beautiful and urethral. And the king, I quite like this king. Just reminds me of a cuckoo clock, you know. Well, it is a cuckoo clock, but it's a very different way of looking at it, isn't it? You know, how time is nobody's friend, really. Time ticks away. And now we come to the Wands Suite. So this is the Ace of Wands. So if you can see, you know, because when you see, first you notice, when I first looked at this, I noticed the eye, but it's actually somebody lying down on the side and a bird has made a nest in her hair. It's quite interesting, isn't it? So is this person alive, or have they passed, or what's happening? Is it a number 2? Second 2 of Wands, I should say. Second. And then we've got the 3 of Wands. The 4. So these are the wands. I think some of them are quite pip-like, but still supremely beautiful. They really are. Very easy to read. 5. The 6. Seven. The 8 of Wands. Very different, isn't it? But it still alludes to having news from the distance. And I think these birds are, what are they called? Excuse me. Still not getting any better. I just want to see if they are what I think they are. Yeah, Cardinals. I've heard that Cardinals are messages from deceased loved ones. I've actually heard that so many times, so that's kind of interesting. So I think if I was going to get this card, I think I would be thinking of people who have passed away from spirits. Beautiful. It's a 9. The 10. How cute is that? To the Page of Wands. Beautiful Knight. Beautiful Queen. And our final card is the King of Wands. So there you go. That is the most beautiful Hush Tarot. I hope you enjoyed that little walkthrough from there. I think it's a deck that I'm going to absolutely adore using, and I'm really looking forward to working it with other decks. I hope you've enjoyed this. Please put a comment down below if there's any questions that you've got to ask about this deck. And until next time, this is Tracy.